Now, heading over to the West Bank, Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz sitting down in Ramallah with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. And this becoming the first high-level in-person talks between Israel and the PA in over a decade. Though the Prime Minister's office was quick to downplay the encounter, saying that the meeting dealing with security issues only, and that, quote, there is no diplomatic process with the Palestinians, nor will there be. Of course, this statement is drawing heavy criticisms, even from within the government coalition. And joining me to discuss is Middle East expert and lecturer at Ilan University, Dr. Mordechai Kedar. Dr. Kedar, thank you so much again for being with us. Now, what is the significance of these talks? Why meet now? Is it just because security cooperation hasn't really stopped despite the lack of meetings in the last 10 years?
Well, I think that this meeting was asked by Biden or somebody in his crew in order to see some kind of a process between Israel and Palestinians, because they need a quick achievement after what they suffered in Afghanistan. Because this administration today is under very, very vicious attacks from left and right and center in the United States and beyond. So they want to show some kind of a process which is being done under the American pressure or auspice or whatever. And this is exactly what Bennett and Gantz are willing to give to Biden, this photo op between Gantz and Mahmoud Abbas, which will be attributed in the public sphere to the pressures or the asking or demand of the American administration.
All right, well, Hamas has actually responded to this meeting saying that it was a stab in the back to the Palestinians and a betrayal of the Palestinian martyrs. How do you see this meeting working with the issues of security along the southern border with Gaza and the negotiations that are ongoing with Hamas?
No, there is no connection between what happens with Hamas and what happened with the PA. On the contrary, the more Israel gets closer to the PA, the more is the motivation of Hamas to ignite the issues with Israel in order to show that they are the masters of the scene and not the PA. And this is unfortunately what happens here. Whenever Israel comes to any agreement or deep negotiations with the PA, the Hamas is way much more motivated to carry out all kinds of terrorist attacks, whether it's bombings or these fires which they set up in the perimeter of Gaza, in order to show that nobody can go around Hamas. Everybody has to take Hamas in account, even the PA, not to mention Israel as well.
All right, well, security issues aside, this meeting was also supposed to be dealing with civilian and economic issues. Bennett vowed to prop up the Palestinian Authority government and economy despite its failures and ongoing crises. But how long can this really go on? Because, as you mentioned, Hamas is forcing itself into the rhetoric and the discussion, and the PA is in serious trouble with ongoing protests, economic issues, plus Abbas himself is old and not very popular.
Well, everybody has to take into account that the longer the PA stays in power, the less its legitimacy becomes. Means that the people in the street, in the Palestinian Authority, especially in the West Bank or Judea and Samaria, see the PA as totally illegitimate entity. First of all, there are no elections. Mahmoud Abbas is there forever. And just like all the Arab dictators, he is not elected. Means his elections were, expired many years ago, and he prolongs his position every year by himself. So this is one thing. Second thing, as you know, Hamas are not even allowed to run to the elections in the PA, although many people, and I would even say the most of the people, would vote for Hamas, not because they side with Hamas politically or culturally, only because they want to get rid of Mahmoud Abbas and his gang. Now, I have to remind you, 2 months ago, the gangs of the PA killed by beating a man in Hebron, Nizar Banat, who was criticizing the PA for its corruption. So they actually grabbed him out from his home and killed him by beating him. Yesterday, there was, or day before, there was a demonstration in the main piazza of Ramallah against those who carried out this killing. And they were, all those who protested against what happened to Nizar Banat were arrested. Means the PA is no less dictatorship than many other Arab regimes.
So again, though, if the PA is illegitimate, and you know, if the PA is illegitimate, but it's the only option outside of Hamas, it seems, then what is Israel to do?
It is not, Aaron. It's not the only option, and this is unfortunate. What people think. There is another option, the Emirates option, which is the only option which can be implemented on the ground by dismantling the PA and creating 8 Emirates, one in Hebron, based on the Hamulahs, based on the families, the
tribal
clans,
separations.
based in Hebron, one in Shechem, in Nablus, one in Jenin, one in Ramallah, one in Jericho, one in Kalkilia, one in Tulkarem. And this is the only thing. Look, the PA, what will happen to the PA one day after there is a Palestinian state, is exactly what happened to the government of Afghanistan, because the government of Afghanistan was not legitimate, and the government of the PA is not legitimate, definitely equally illegitimate. And this is why, in order to make sure that the Palestinian Taliban, means Hamas, will never come to power, we have to dismantle the PA and create Emirates based on the families, because the families will never let Hamas take over the place.
All right, Dr. Kedar, thank you so much for joining us again today.
No problem.